Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Shatin Sawati is here and welcome to Biosciences with Shatin Sawati. Today I'm going to deliver the lecture about the mechanism of photosynthesis, which is light reaction and dark reaction. In this lecture I will deliver and discuss about the light reaction which occur in the granum of the chloroplast. But before starting my lecture, I have a very humble request to all of you to subscribe my channel, like my videos, share my videos. If you're sharing my videos, my lectures, you are sharing the knowledge. So keep watching, keep sharing knowledge with others. Now I'm going to start my lecture about the light reaction. Light reactions mean the light independent reaction which occur in the granum of the chloroplast. And I have discussed in detail about the structure, function, and thylakoid membrane, electron transport in my previous lecture about the chloroplast. So must go through this lecture. You will get a lot and this lecture will be easily understandable for you people. I got lots of questions and requests from my students to deliver the lecture about the light reaction. So all the students hold on your notebook and note down all the important information which I am going to deliver in this lecture. So here you can see here on the screen the chloroplast, in which you can see here the granum in which the light reaction occur and the stroma in which the dark reaction and the light independent reaction occur. So what is light reaction? How many steps involved in the light reaction? Which enzymes are involved? And how many types of the light reaction? And what is the other name used for the light reaction? So in this lecture, I will discuss little about the discovery, then photosystems, concept of the Z scheme, why it is called Z scheme, what is the reason, and many more. Then photolysis, what is photolysis, where it occur, electron transport along the thylakoid membrane. So in order to understand this lecture, you must watch my lecture about the chloroplast. You will see all the thylakoid membrane structures and chemical composition and all that will help you to understand the mechanism of the photosynthesis. So this is the chloroplast, and chloroplast most important parts which involve in photosynthesis is the granum and the stroma. Stroma is the site for the dark reaction, which I will discuss in my next lecture, and the granum, which is the site for the light reaction, I will discuss here. Discovery. Light reaction basically which occur in the granum start by the photolysis of the water. What is photolysis? Photolysis is basically the breakdown of the water molecule that was discovered by the Robin Hill. Robin Hill discovered the photolysis in 1937. He demonstrated that the process by which plant produce oxygen is separate from the process that convert carbon dioxide into sugar. So the conversion of the carbon dioxide to sugar occur in the stroma, that is the Calvin cycle or the dark reaction. And the production of the oxygen from the photolysis of the water is the light reaction which occur in the granum. So now what is the Z scheme and who discovered? The Z scheme was discovered by the Hill and the Bandel in 1960. So why it is called Z scheme? Actually the light reaction is also known as photophosphorylation. Now what is photophosphorylation? Photo means light and phosphorylation means to produce or synthesize the molecule of high energy like ATP and ATPH. So photophosphorylation, in case of the light reaction, you see there are two types of the photophosphorylation, cyclic and non-cyclic. I will show you. Now the non-cyclic photophosphorylation is also known as the Z scheme. And why it is called Z scheme? The reason is that the electron move along the pathway along the thylakoid membrane and making the shape of the path like the Z. That is why this is known as the Z scheme, because of the shape of the path of the electrons along the thylakoid membrane. Is it clear? I will show you. Now, what is photosystem? Photosystem basically consists of the antenna complex and the reaction center. Now, what is antenna complex and what is the reaction center? You can see here in the figure. The antenna complex is composed of the carotenoids and chlorophyll. Carotenoids are the accessory pigments which directly absorb the sunlight and then transfer it to the chlorophyll. And how many? Two types of the chlorophyll. The most important, chlorophyll A and B are present. Now, carotenoid first absorb the sunlight and then transfer it to the chlorophyll, because chlorophyll is more sensitive, and if it directly exposed to the sunlight, it will be destroyed. So first light hit the carotenoids, and then carotenoids, light from the carotenoid transfer to the chlorophyll A and B. Now it moves towards the reaction center, in which the photolysis, the first step of the light reaction, or the photosynthesis occur. Now there are two types of the photosystem, photosystem 1 and photosystem 2. Photosystem 1 is also known as PS700. And why it is called PS700? Means the PS photosystem 1 absorb light energy of 700 nanometer. And PS2 is known as PS680. Why it is called 680? Because it absorbed the light energy of 680 nanometer. And as we know the relationship of the energy and the wavelength, high energy waves, energy is inverse proportion to the wavelength. If the wavelength is high, the energy is low, and if the energy is high, the wavelength is low. So the PS700 has absorbed the light energy of 700, and PS2 absorbed the light energy of 800 nanometer, and I will show you. So that's why the PS 680 comes first, because high energy radiation is absorbed by the photosystem 2 as compared to the photosystem 1. So that's why the PS2 come first and PS1 come second to PS2. Okay. Now, pigments, chlorophyll, carotenoids form the antenna complex and harvest and transfer light energy to the chlorophyll at the reaction center. And reaction center is, you know, that where the photolysis or breakdown of the water occur. Energy is transferred from pigments to pigment, like carotenoids are pigment, accessory pigment, chlorophyll is a pigment, green pigment. So this transfer takes place by the resonance transfer. At the reaction center, light energy is converted into the chemical energy. Okay. Now what is photolysis? Photo means light, and lysis means breakdown. Photolysis here relate to the breakdown of the water in the presence of the sunlight energy. And this step involve or occur in the presence of the enzyme photosystem II. So during photolysis, what will happen when the light energy hit the antenna complex and move to the reaction center and causes the breakdown of the water molecule. Two water molecule, must keep it in your mind, produces one oxygen molecule. So the light reaction occur in two steps. Light reaction occur in how many steps? Two steps. One water molecule breakdown at one cycle, and the other at another cycle. So the two cycles involve two water molecule and produces one oxygen. Two water molecules undergo two light reaction cycles and produces one molecule of oxygen, 4 electrons and 4 protons. These electrons and these protons move along the thylakoid membrane, I will show you, and the oxygen liberated are released into the atmosphere. So plants not only the source of the food, as we know that they are the source of the oxygen. So oxygen releases as a byproduct. and actual you can say that the energy production involved the movement of the electrons and proton along the thylakoid membrane. Okay. Now, what is the photosystem 2? The photosystem 2 is the enzyme that facilitate photolysis and therefore underpins virtually all life on our planet is known as photosystem 2, a multi subunit enzyme embedded in the lipid environment of the thylakoid membrane. As we know that lipid environment of the thylakoid membrane, I have discussed in detail about thylakoid membrane, so must watch my lecture about thylakoid membrane of the plants, algae and cyanobacteria. Is it clear? The photosystems, scientists believe that this is what? This is the enzyme that initiate the photolysis of the water, are responsible for the breakdown of the water and the start of the light reaction. Okay. Now, this is the Z scheme. You can see here the path of the movement of the electron. This light reaction, which is the non-cyclic photophosphorylation. You can see here the electron move in a non-cyclic way, not in the cyclic way. I will show you the cyclic way of the transport of the electron or movement of the electron. This is the non-cyclic photophosphorylation or the light reaction, which consists of photosystem 1 and photosystem 2. Now you can see here, this is the photosystem 2 which comes first, because we know that, as I have discussed, the photosystem 2 absorb high energy wave 680 nanometer. 680 nanometer high energy, low wavelength high energy, and PS1 PS700 high wavelength, low energy. So PS2 come first with high energy. What will happen? The photons, which are the packets of energy, the sunlight, when hit the reaction antenna complex and then move to the reaction center, and in the reaction center you can see here the photolysis of the water occur. The water breakdown, two molecules of water break down into one oxygen molecule, 4 electrons and 4 protons. Now these electrons from the high energy, this is the high energy. Now from this high energy, these electrons which are produced as a result of the breakdown of the water move towards the first electron acceptor, which is the plastoquinone, which is represented here as a Q. You can see here this Q, plastoquinone. So electrons from the reaction center move from the high energy to the lower energy, and here these electrons are first accepted by the plastoquinone Q. Now from the plastoquinone, these electrons move towards the cytochromes B6 and the cytochrome F complex. Now when the electron move from plastoquinone to cytochrome, this is the oxidation reduction reaction, means redox reaction. Oxidation and reduction occur side by side. Now if the electrons are accepted by first plastoquinone, the plastoquinone become reduced, and when the plastoquinone releases these electrons towards the cytochrome, then the plastoquinone become oxidized and the cytochrome B and F become reduced. So when the electron move from the plastoquinone to cytochrome B and F, energy is releases as a result of the oxidation of the plastoquinone. This energy is used in the synthesis of the ATP. This energy is used at that step. Energy is used for the synthesis of ATP. That's why this is known as the photophosphorylation, because the energy is produced as a result of the using of the light energy for the breakdown of the water molecule. As a result, electron proton releases. These electrons move along the pathway and first accepted by the plastoquinone, then move towards the plastoquinone become reduced, and then after when the plastoquinone releases electrons and move to these electrons move towards the B and F, then at that time plastoquinone oxidize and releases energy. That energy is used in the formation of the ATP. So ATP is synthesized at that step. Must keep it in your mind. Okay, now from the B and F complex, cytochromes complex, the electron move towards the next electron acceptor, electron carrier, which is the plastocyanine. Now plastocyanine accept these electrons and become reduced. Now what will happen? From the plastocyanine, electron move towards the next reaction center, which is the reaction center or photosystem II. Now what will happen? Again, light or photons hit the PS2 and the electron again move towards the from the high energy level to lower energy level, and here another electron acceptor which is known as ferredoxine, ferredoxine accept this electron, and then from the ferredoxine these electrons move towards the NADP. NADP receive these electrons and protons which are moving along the thylakoid membrane, and this NADP converted into NADPH. NADP is oxidized, and then after accepting the electron and protons, it becomes NADPH reduced form. By the help of the enzyme NADP reductase. Must keep it in your mind. NADP. So NADPH produces at the ferredoxine stage by accepting the electron by the NADP, and the ATP is produced at the cytochromes complex. So one ATP molecule you can see here and one NADP, and must keep it in your mind. I'm giving you information that one NADPH is equal to 3 molecules of ATP. How many ATP? 3 molecules of ATP. 1 molecule of NADPH is equal to 3 molecules. So NADPH energy is highest compared to 1. So because 1 NADPH compared to 3 ATP molecule equal to 3 ATP. So the concept about the non-cyclic photophosphorylation, electrons move in a non-cyclic way. At the end they are accepted by the NADP, and NADP is converted into NADPH. So this is the photolysis and the movement of the electron. I will show you along the thylakoid membrane here in order to clear your concept. Now you can see here, this is the thylakoid membrane, granum membrane, and this is the lumen of the thylakoid, and this is the stroma. Just suppose this is the chloroplast. This whole screen is like a chloroplast, and in the chloroplast granums are present, and in the granum thylakoids are present, and thylakoid membrane, this is the thylakoid membrane, and this is the lumen, and this is the outside of the thylakoids, means the stroma, chloroplast stroma and thylakoid lumen. Now you can see here the PS2, photosystem 2 at which the photolysis means the breakdown of the water occur. Then the protons move along the, you can see here the ATP synthase. This is the ATP synthase, the most important protein F particle which is responsible for the formation of the ATP from ADP and phosphate. You can see here the protons move from the higher concentration, because inside the lumen number of protons produced, like 4 protons at each step produces. Now these protons move from the lumen to the stroma through this ATPase, and at that time energy is releases, and that energy is used in the formation of the ATP. Concept is clear about that. The protons from the high energy when move towards the from a higher concentration move towards the lower concentration. In the lumen, proton concentration high. In the stroma, this is low. So when it move from the higher to lower, energy releases. That energy is used in the formation of the ATP from ADP at ATP synthase. And this step occur at the cytochrome B. This energy, this ATP molecule is produced at the cytochrome B and cytochrome F. Is it clear? Cytochrome B and cytochrome F, this energy produced here. Now, you can see here this is the photosystem 2, and from the photosystem 2 electron move towards the plastocunene, and then from the plastocunene electron move towards the cytochrome complex, and from the cytochrome complex move toward the plastocyanine, and from the plastocyanine electron transfer to the photosystem 1, and from photosystem 1 these electrons are carried out by the ferredoxine, which is the first electron acceptor of the PS1, and at the ferredoxine these electrons and protons which are moving along the membrane accepted by the NADP, and NADP reduced into NADPH by the help of ferredoxine NADP reductase. Is it clear to you? This is very interesting. I hope so. The concept is clear about the movement of the electrons and making the Z scheme, and the concept of photophosphorylation, which is this is non-cyclic photophosphorylation. Is it clear? Photophosphorylation is clear. The production of the energy using the sunlight in the form of ATP molecule and NADPH molecule. And 1 NADPH equal to 3 ATP molecule. Okay, now moving towards the cyclic photophosphorylation. You can see here the difference between the, first you observe the non-cyclic. Now you observe the difference between the cyclic and non-cyclic photophosphorylation. In this case, you can see the photosystem 2 is blocked and the electrons move just along the photosystem 1. Now what will happen? In this case, in case of the cyclic cyclic photophosphorylation, what will happen? No NADPH produced. So the non-cyclic, in case of non-cyclic, more energy molecules produces, but this cyclic photophosphorylation produces less amount of energy. Now I will show you how. Now when the electron move from the plastocunene to cytochromes, and then from the cytochromes to plastocyanine, and from the plastocyanine move towards the PS1. Now from the PS1 these electrons move towards the ferredoxine, accepted by the ferredoxine. Now what will happen? When these electrons are accepted by the ferredoxine, move again towards the plastocunene. What will happen? From the ferredoxine, here no NADPH is synthesized. No NADP accept these electrons from the ferredoxine for the formation of NADPH. That's why the electrons from the ferredoxine move towards the plastocunene, and from the plastocunene then again to the cytochrome. So in this way electrons move, you can see here, in a cyclic form, because of the blockage of the photosystem 2. Is it clear? So in this way less amount of energy is produced, because just ATP is produced at the cytochrome complex when the electron move from the plastocunene to cytochromes. Is it clear? At the ferredoxine no NADPH produced, because electrons move towards the plastocunene again and then cytochrome. So this is the cyclic photophosphorylation, and you must know the difference between the cyclic and non-cyclic, and the amount of energy produced in cyclic and non-cyclic. Must keep it in your mind, all the differences. I hope so the concept is clear upon you people. If you have any question, write in the comment box. Thank you very much. I will be back with the dark reaction in my next lecture tomorrow. Inshallah. Allah Hafiz.